My name is Lana, and I'm a fan of sensual stories and explicit movies. I've put together a collection of the best stories that I'm sharing with you. Now, we're going to listen to a very special one. Let's go! Kelly and I had been together on and off since I was 16 and she was 15. We lost our virginity to each other, and though we had a couple other partners, each in high school, we got back together our senior year and have been together ever since. We both went to the same community college and we lived together during that time. It was an amazing time for both of us, with the new freedoms of living together. As soon as we got done with school, I got a job as an accounting clerk with a construction company, and she got hired at a company that was owned by one of her best friend's father. We soon got married, and things were going well. It wasn't too long after we were married that Kelly announced that she was pregnant. We were both very happy, but we were still struggling, and there was no way we could raise a baby in our studio apartment. So, we started searching for an affordable two-bedroom apartment, and we both worked as much as we could to make a little more. One day, Kelly came home very excited and proceeded to tell me that she had received a promotion at work and would be the executive assistant to the owner. However, this would mean more hours and time away from me, though she would also have time off to stay home once the baby was born, with her position guaranteed when she returned to work. I was thrilled, but I felt there was something she wasn't telling me. She was right. She started staying late in the evenings every few nights. Early on, there was a couple of business trips she was required to go on as well. Though, once she was far enough along in her pregnancy, those stopped. As she got closer to her due date, she came home one day and told me that her boss had a rental house that he was offering as a gift for the baby. We would be able to live there rent-free as long as Kelly was working for him. I thought, this is odd, but he was the father of her friend, and they had known each other and each other's families for a very long time. After she had the baby, she stayed home for 2 months. When it was time to go back to work, she seemed overly nervous, yet excited at the same time. Now that she wasn't pregnant, she began going on more business trips and working extra hours again. Things had also changed at home, in small ways as well. While we had always had a good sex life, she started doing and asking for things we had never done before. I wasn't sure where it was coming from at the time, but it was fun and adventurous, so I went with it and enjoyed every minute of it. Life went on good for about another year, until one day I found Kelly in our room crying. I asked her what was wrong, and she looked at me sadly and told me she was pregnant again. I assumed the crying was due to hormones and told her how great that was and how great it would be to have another baby around the house. She smiled and seemed to cheer up a bit, so I didn't think anything of it. About halfway through her pregnancy, she came home crying one day. She took my hand and pulled me into the bedroom, sitting me down on the bed. She told me that she had to tell me something, and she hoped I would still love her and be her husband, but she understood if I didn't. I wasn't sure what to think. She then told me through her tears that she had to tell me before the baby was born, that she wasn't sure whose baby it was. I was shocked and I didn't know what to say. I asked her how she could not know, and she told me that she would have to tell me the whole story for me to understand. That's when she told me what had been going on for a little over 2 years. Kelly had been visiting her friend, telling her about our financial troubles during her first pregnancy. Her boss and her friend's dad had been in the nearby room and overheard the conversation. The next day at work, he called her into his office and had her sit down, and he asked about our financial problems. As she trusted him, she told him everything. After sitting and thinking for a bit, he offered to help us out, but told her it would be a lot of work and sacrifice, and that she would have to be willing to do whatever he asked. She agreed, thinking it was all going to be work-related tasks. But then he told her that he needed to be sure she was truly willing to do whatever he asked, and come around his desk. She did, not sure what was going on. He then had her sit on his desk. He moved his chair slightly, so he was facing her. Then he told her to spread her legs. Shocked, she refused, and he told her that she could then stick to her current job and pay, or she could get a promotion and an incredible pay raise. Crying, she spread her legs for him. Next is going to be an overly explicit segment that I'm skipping due to YouTube restrictions. In the video description and in the comment section, you can find links to the full version of my stories in my Telegram channel, Lana Tales.